Over the past couple of years, video games have felt like they were becoming increasingly more stale and boring for me. Do you remember that feeling you had in 2016 where you were rushing home from school to hop back on Black Ops 3 Zombies or playing Prime Fortnite? That's the feeling I've been craving for the last couple of years, but it seems like video games just kind of suck nowadays. Recently, I watched an anime that reignited that feeling in a way. Although it changed the way I played video games entirely. And no, it's not Sword Art Online. The anime I'm talking about is Shangri-La Frontier. Shangri-La Frontier is a perfectly paced, action packed masterpiece that does not get talked about enough. I can count on my fingers how many animes I've watched where I was up at 3 a.m. telling myself one more episode, and ended up pulling an all nighter. And Shangri-La Frontier is one of them. Each episode literally flows so perfectly into the next episode, I can't even put into words how much of a masterpiece this is. Shangri-La Frontier is an anime about a high school boy named Sunraku who gets off on playing horribly made video games with a bunch of bugs and issues, like literal unplayable trash. Sunraku was never interested in any of the solid, popular games until he walks into his favorite video game store and gets persuaded to buy a very highly rated game. The video games in this anime were pretty similar to the games in Sword Art Online, where the player has full control of the in-game character, sort of like a VR game on steroids. The thing with Sunraku is he turns out to be pretty overpowered from grinding all the terrible games he had been playing in the past, from navigating all the bugs and issues and all the tedious tasks he had to deal with. But what the show does so great is he doesn't have much plot armor at all. He's a super reckless player, taking a bunch of risks throughout the series by fighting bosses and enemies much stronger than him. And he doesn't win all his fights, which is something you don't see a lot in anime. One thing I love about Sunraku's character is his mentality. He's kind of a masochist who loves tedious tasks and fights, which helps his character grow in the game much faster than his counterparts. And it kind of convinced me to start playing like him in the games I play as well. The really unique part about how Sunraku plays the game in the anime is that he is a pure damage per second player that relies on speed and dodging, so he never upgrades his health or defense in the game. He defines it as a glass cannon build, and it makes the anime that much more intense to watch. What really stuck with me about the way he plays games is that he ignores the meta. He's a player that experiments with all types of play styles, and I find that honestly inspiring. Because I've gotten caught up in watching all the YouTube videos about how to optimize and perfect everything in video games instead of just enjoying the experience. Sunraku isn't the only good character in this anime either. Every single character in the show has a bunch of depth and adds to the story. The pacing in Shangri-La Frontier is probably the best I've ever seen in an anime. From the fights, the side characters, to the backstories, and even the tedious tasks Sunraku does, everything progresses the story in some shape or form, and there's almost no downtime. Each episode you finish, you just want to watch more. I can't really explain the feeling, but you guys know what I mean. It just feels fresh from most of the anime you would normally watch on a regular basis. The fight scenes in this anime are so good compared to a lot of the shonen anime out there. It just takes a different approach than most shows do, and that is instead of trying to overpower the enemy, Sunraku and his homies beat the bosses and enemies with strategy, looking at the fight as almost like a puzzle. So not only do the longer fights have amazing animation, they also have another element of the characters adapting mid-fight and changing their strategies going forward as well. And since the characters don't actually die, you would think that the fight scenes don't have as much impact to them, but I would argue that the stakes in the fight scenes are even more intense because Sunraku can lose. It gives you a sense of never actually knowing what's going to happen the whole time, opposed to most animes where you know if the main character dies, the whole story ends, so you know that they're going to live. Now, I know I've been ranting about how good I think this show is, but now I think it's time to answer this question. How exactly did this anime bring back the love I had for video games? First off, I was a meta player, I'll admit it, in every game, in every aspect of every single game I ever played. In Call of Duty, I ran the best guns with the best attachments. In Fortnite, I would use the loadout that Ninja or Tfue would use. I'd watch a YouTube video for every single aspect of games that could be optimized instead of taking the time to try out different strategies and tools myself. Watching this anime gave me a whole new perspective of how video games could be played, and it also pulled me into a whole new category of games I'd never played before. So, do I recommend this anime? Well, what do you think? Anyway, guys, that's my rant slash review for the day. If you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like and drop a comment on what anime I should talk about next. Also, I'm testing this editing stuff out, so if you made it this far, let me know what I can do to improve my editing and stuff and how I can make these videos a little bit more enjoyable to watch. I'm still learning. I'm using CapCut and stuff, so anyway, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.